Hi everyone, my name is Boban Stojkovic, and we are now moving into the analysis portion of our presentation. On the table to the left, you see the number of COVID-19 cases in Michigan by month during the 70-day mandate. March has data starting from March 23rd onward. April is all of April, and May also includes June 1st. First, we have our observed values, and to make predictions of these values, we modeled trend lines on a scatter plot to get the root mean squared error. As you can see, even though the quadratic function has a root mean squared of 0, that is not the preferred trend line, as the quadratic function has the same predicted values as the observed values. So our best trend line for this fitting stage is the logarithmic function. And if you can see as the graph to your right, the logarithmic values are the most similar to the observed values in the graph to the left. Moving forward to the prediction phase, now we use the values from the fitting stage to try to get the most accurate predictions for what would have happened if the 70-day mandate had still been in place and COVID cases were going at that rate. As you can see now, our preferred trend line is a power trend line, as that has the lowest RMSC. However, if you look at the RMSC, 46,141 is still very high. And if you look at the power prediction values compared to the observed values, there are a lot more COVID-19 cases with the mandate than without the mandate. And we think this contributes to many factors, such as the fact that during the mandate, all masks were considered to be equal. However, that is not true. Many face coverings and masks do not actually protect you against COVID-19, and this potentially contributed to this discrepancy between the cases. Also, November was during a very bad season for COVID, and this is why you can see that there's 3 times as many cases in November as there was in December, and that is the highest month other than November. Moving forward, we also fitted the COVID-19 deaths. The same as the fitting stage in COVID-19 cases, the quadratic trend line gave us an RMSE of 0. We know, however, that this is not correct, so our best fit trend line was the logarithmic, which has a very low RMSC of 1,246.898. And if you look at the logarithmic values on your right compared to the observed values on your left, you can see that the deaths are very similar. Moving forward to the prediction phase for COVID-19 deaths. Unlike the cases, we were able to get a much more accurate representation of the number of deaths that would have occurred had the mandate not been lifted. As the cases, you can see that the number of deaths are much higher if the cases or deaths had trended the same way as they did with the mandate. We also believe this is due to the fact that COVID is very volatile, and the mandate was given in the very beginning stages of COVID-19, roughly the first 70 days. And this is why the predicted values of deaths are much higher when they are expected to be lower, because the mandate had the whole state shut down and people were required to wear masks, even though they're required to wear masks now. But as we said previously, this could be due to the fact that even though the state was shut down, many of the face coverings people were wearing were not useful, and many department stores or all big market stores were open, such as Walmart, and many people were shopping in these stores, which makes sense as to why deaths and cases were still going up, because people probably contracted the virus at their local grocery store and didn't know it. Moving to our closing thoughts, we have our best models for cases. Our best model was the power trend, and as you can see the function to your left, the power trend model is 12,214.5955 times the observed value to the power of 0.8149. And on your right, you can see the best model for predicting COVID-19 deaths, which is the logarithmic model. This is 1,259.3792, natural log of your variable, plus 1,124.4985. And in closing, we think that even though our data suggests that the mandate, if it was still in effect, would have caused COVID cases and deaths to both increase, we think this is due to the fact that the 70-day sample size is very small. And as mentioned previously, COVID, even right now, people don't really understand how the virus works, and is very volatile. And we think this is why there is an increase in cases and deaths using the best fit trend lines from the mandate, when we expected there to be a decrease in both cases and deaths had the mandate still been in effect. And this also means that even during the mandate, people were still congregating, even though they were told not to. And as mentioned previously, I heavily believe that even though many people were wearing masks during this time, and even now, many of these masks are not actually effective at countering COVID-19. And on certain boxes for many of these masks, it states that this will not protect you against COVID-19. So in closing, we think that the mandate, even though it wasn't that effective, probably did help quell the number of cases and deaths in the long run, as the observed values are much lower than our predicted values. Thank you.